Hey guys, Ryan here, and in this video I'm going to be covering what I believe are the best graphical settings to use in God of War Ragnarök in order to give you like an optimal combination of performance and visuals. So for reference, I'm currently running this game at 1440p resolution using an AMD Ryzen 5700X and an NVIDIA RTX 3080 on Windows 11 Pro. So let's jump into the game and let's check out what options are available to be selected. Okay, so first we're going to focus on the display settings. Now most of these settings you can see here on the screen are kind of self-explanatory, so I'm only really going to cover options that could potentially impact the performance of the game. So first up is display mode, which unless you've got multiple monitors, you really should be running this as full screen for the best performance, although I will admit that modern versions of Windows have kind of reduced the performance hit for using windowed modes, so yeah, that's another consideration for you. Now, resolution should be set to, in about 99% of cases, your monitor's native resolution. So, for example, if you've got a 1440p display, you want to set it at the width and the height of the 1440p display. Now, the reason mine's set up as a weird one is because I've got DLSS enabled, which we're going to cover in a minute. Now, moving on to VSync, in most cases you want to set this to on, and really just to prevent a phenomenon known as screen tearing, although this will actually cap the maximum frame rate of the game to the refresh rate of your monitor. So if you've got a 165Hz monitor, then that's the maximum frame rate you're going to get. So frame gen is a relatively new technology, which is only really supported on newer graphics cards, but unless you're really struggling for a consistent frame rate, honestly, I'd leave it as off. You can enable it if you wish, but just bear in mind it may have some weird artifacts appearing on the screen. Now moving on to the scaling method. This will really depend on what graphics card you've got. So for example, if you've got NVIDIA card, you want to be using DLSS, and if you've got AMD, you want to be using FSR. And then choosing the quality as, well, basically quality. It's probably the best of both worlds. Now of course, if you've got an older card that support that, then you can just set it as a native here. But again, this is really going to be based on what hardware you've got. Okay, so let's move into the graphics setting, which is really the area where it's going to make the most performance and visual impacts to the game. So the first setting is texture. And really what this setting does is determines the quality of the in-game textures, funny enough, and it generally has no impact on your performance unless you're exceeding your GPU's VRAM limit, so I tend to just leave this one as high. Next up is models, which is really used to determine the quality of the geometric data or details on various objects that are found in-game. Again, I tend to leave this one as high. This next word is a bit of a mouthful, but it's anisotropic filtering. And in layman terms, what it's really used to do is determine the quality of texture filtering in-game, which is really designed to work when you look at textures from weird angles, for example, and just make sure that they still look good. Now, in most cases, it doesn't really affect performance all that much, so this is one of a few settings I'll actually just leave as ultra. Lighting, probably no prizes for guessing what this does, but it really determines the quality of the in-game lighting. Again, I tend to just leave that one as high. Shadows. So shadows is a weird thing in many games where it's probably the only setting that you want to drop down to as low as you can handle, mainly because it's going to be where the performance hit will occur. So for a happy medium, I tend to just, funny enough, stick with medium, as that gives me a happy medium between visuals and performance. If you really want to and you're struggling for frames, you can drop it down to low. It's just not going to look great. Reflections, which unsurprisingly is used to determine the clarity and reflections in game, especially when it reflects off surfaces. But again, much like shadows, it can be a source of poor performance, so I'd start this one up as medium and see how you get on. Atmospherics is used basically for the fog effect in game. Again, fog can be quite heavy hitting, so I would leave that as medium to start with again, and maybe drop it if you find that your performance is lacking. Ambient occlusion is used to control the quality level of the smaller in-game objects, but again, it's one of those ones where it doesn't really affect performance all that much, so you can probably set that one to ultra. And then finally on the list we have tessellation, which is used to determine the quantity of geometric smoothing in-game, but again, this one I tend to just leave this one as high. I've not really noticed much of a difference if I swap this one down to lower or higher. Well, apart from it doesn't look as good. But yeah, performance-wise, just leave it as high. Now, you've got a couple of other options here, for like film grain, motion blur. Neither of these really make any real effects on performance, so just leave it as per your personal preferences. I don't really like the film grain effects, and I especially don't like motion blur, but it might be for you. Okay, so that's covered all the settings that are available, so let's jump into some gameplay.
Take my own path. So, where am I exactly? I was in this weird fog.
Oh, I've heard that Utengard can be disorienting. Still, you're safe here in the Ironwood.
So, I thought Ironwood wasn't a real place.
Clever, right? Odin won't go searching for the Forest of the Giants if he doesn't think it exists.
The Forest of the Giants.
That's what some people call it. Or called it.
What's that?
A brooch.
It's big.
Compared to?
I thought giants weren't all supposed to be giant. So, what do you do here?
Paint, forage, survive, preserve what I can.
But why wait for me?
Because my destiny is to tell you yours. Go away! Watch out!
Jumper!
I've got you! I got your back!
I don't think I've ever seen someone fight a Draugr that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So, what were you doing before you came here?
Surviving Fimbulwinter. Wait, is that a thing around here? Did you know about it?
I did. How are you doing?
I'm great. I met another living giant. Maybe one who holds my destiny.
What?
Sorry. I'm just really excited to talk to you.
Okay. Loki! I've got it. Tell me when. Let go!
Jumper!
Warp them! I got your back!
Jumper!
Catch this! Right, well. Like a champion.
Thanks. You too.
So in conclusion, God of War Ragnarok is one of those rare occasions where the PC port is actually pretty fantastic, and I found that performance does scale well across a wide range of hardware, which is always a good thing to see, especially because it's not come from EA, which sucks at ports. And yeah, it certainly is a rarity these days. In either case, thanks for watching this video today, and if you did find it helpful, then please don't forget to leave a like, share the video, and also smash that subscribe button to see more content like this in the very near future. Thanks again, and I'll see you again next time. Bye now!